Hello, my name is Callum, also known as Wanderloots, and welcome to this tutorial on NotebookLM's audio overview feature, also known as the AI podcast. I've been using this feature to reduce the information overload in my life, improving my decision fatigue, while also surfacing insights of my own ideas that give me a confidence boost and help me with imposter syndrome. NotebookLM is Google's AI notebook that lets you add your own sources to work with a ton of information without feeling overwhelmed. The audio overview, or AI podcast feature, enables a transition from traditional text-based work to audio-based work.
It's like having a brainstorming partner who's already digested all of your research and is ready to spark those aha moments.
It's remarkable how this technology can help you uncover hidden connections in your own work.
It's a game changer for reviewing a ton of information in an effortless way that doesn't require looking at a screen or sitting at a desk. You can review your notes, lectures, meetings, and ideas hands-free and eyes-free as you walk around, go to the gym, cook, commute, or anything else. Information overload is a real problem in the modern world, with each of us consuming more information in a day than someone in the 1500s did in their entire lifetimes. Our brains were not made for this amount of daily information. This information overload can lead us to feel overwhelmed as we get confused by the external voices that are mixing with our own, making it hard for us to separate our own ideas from the ideas of others. We begin to compare ourselves with them over time, which can lead us to feeling as though we don't have anything to contribute because someone else has already done it. This is imposter syndrome. This chaos removes the clarity from our lives. It makes it difficult for us to know what to do next when we have an infinite number of options available to us mixed in with the outside opinion of others. Thankfully, we now have the perfect tool available to us, one that will help us process and filter the information from the outside world and introduce clarity in a way that we've never had before. Artificial intelligence. AI was designed to deal with massive amounts of information, helping us process the information and filter out the best ideas and the best decisions so that we don't have to spend all that time going through all of the information ourselves. Today, I want to focus on an AI tool that I've personally found very helpful, the audio overview of NotebookLM, also known as the AI podcast. This week, I spent some time using the AI podcast feature to surface insights, reduce decision fatigue and information overload, and generally give myself a confidence boost on the videos that I'm making on YouTube and the ideas that I've been generating. This video is actually a result of my feedback that I've gotten going back and forth with the AI podcast generated by NotebookLM. All right, now that you have a bit of an idea on the problems that can be overcome using this feature, let's take a look. I thought I would go through an actual example of how I've used this. So to start, you need to add sources, which you can see here on the left-hand side. Sources can be a few different kinds. They can be Google Docs, Google Slides, website links, YouTube videos, pasted text, or you can also include markdown files like from Obsidian or audio files like voice notes or meetings. If you're interested in learning more about NotebookLM and all of the features that are available in it, I have a video here that I use as a complete overview walking through all of the features so that you can see step by step how you can take advantage of this artificial intelligence tool in a way that's really going to boost your creativity and productivity. Today, I want to focus specifically on the audio overview feature. To speed things up, I've already gone through and added a bunch of sources. You can see all of my sources listed on the side here. The first one, Augmented Personal Knowledge Management, is a newsletter that I published on September 1st, 2023. And you can see if you click on the source, it pulls up a source guide, which has an AI summary, and it also includes a list of key topics that the AI has identified as being the most valuable part of this source. To do this, all I had to do was go to my website where I've got my newsletter posted, copy the URL, and then go and click Add Source, and just paste the website URL in here. So I did that for a few different newsletters. I also included a conversation that I had with ChatGPT for some more context on my YouTube channel. And I included a few of my own YouTube videos. So again, the same thing. I went to my YouTube channel where I have a few videos on Obsidian and NotebookLM. I clicked share, copied each YouTube video into a source here by clicking plus and adding the YouTube video here. I also added a NotebookLM tutorial notes note from my Obsidian. Obsidian is a markdown-based note-taking software. So you can see here that the file is .md. The fact that you can use markdown files with NotebookLM is honestly a game changer because it allows me to work with my second brain in Obsidian in a whole other way. I like using real-world examples when I'm making these tutorial videos because I like to show you how I'm actually practically using these tools in my everyday life. So I figured what better way to show you the audio overview, the podcast feature, than to use it to help make this video. I had a bunch of ideas on where I could take my YouTube channel, and I had put all of these thoughts into my YouTube strategy notes. And also, I had a conversation with my partner, Taylor, where she and I talked about all the different ideas that I had for progressing my YouTube channel and expanding on my concepts of personal knowledge management, information overload, and using AI tools to improve our mental health and productivity. So I dropped in our conversation on our YouTube strategy and also included my note on YouTube strategy from my Obsidian file. The goal of this audio overview was to create something that would help me understand where to take my YouTube videos. I also included a link to Ali Abdal's Ultimate Guide to YouTube. So all of these notes are in a notebook in NotebookLM, and you can see here that there's 17 sources. NotebookLM has a context window of 25 million tokens. For context, 100 tokens is roughly 75 words, so that means that NotebookLM in each notebook can take in about 19 million words. That's the equivalent to about 375 nonfiction books. That is a lot of information that an AI tool can help you process. I hope you can start to see how the ability to move through this information without having to consume it all yourself, it really gives you a huge boost on the way that you can process your own thoughts, ideas, and knowledge and generate insights and generate an output, some creation or knowledge work that will boost your ability to operate in society without getting burnt out. Now, as we get into the audio overview feature, which you can see here, it's actually really quite easy to get going. All I have to do is click generate. Once I click generate, the AI Notebook LM is going to go through all of my sources that I've included here, and it's going to tie together the themes and ideas and concepts that is presented in a conversation format between two different artificial intelligences. To give you an idea on what the podcast is going to sound like, you can take a look at the notebook guide summary. So you can see here that it says the provided sources are from my newsletter and YouTube channel, which focus on personal knowledge management, self-actualization, and navigating the changing world of work with the rise of artificial intelligence. It also touches on the concept of a second brain and advocates for multimodal approaches to thinking. So, one of the main goals of my newsletter and recalibrating, which is the philosophy that I'm living by, is building a sustainable creation system and finding flow in life using AI to improve productivity and efficiency without coming to burnout. Honestly, this is a really great summary of all of the notes in here. It's taken some of the key ideas and concepts and linked them together in this brief summary. And what the AI is doing is it's going through based on the summary, based on all the concepts I've included here, and also based on the notes that I've already saved in here. Which you can see here, I've got a few notes in here that I added, which are snippets from the conversation. Again, I talk more about how you can do this in my Notebook LM overview video. But what happens is the AI suggests questions based on the sources and based on my conversation in the chat. So you can see the suggested questions here on the side. What are the challenges and benefits of building a personal knowledge management system in a world with increasing information overload? This is one of the main concepts that I wanted to get across in this YouTube video. So the fact that Notebook LM is suggesting this as a question gives me hope that the podcast that it's going to output as the audio overview is going to be very on point with the questions that I'm trying to solve with this YouTube video. Okay, and there we go. It's finished generating the AI podcast, the audio overview. That took about 8 minutes or so. And you can see here that the podcast is 45 minutes long. That's actually quite a long podcast generation. That's the longest one I've seen so far. So let's give it a listen.
Welcome to another deep dive. This time, it's all about figuring out how to not just survive, but actually thrive in a world that's absolutely overflowing with information, innovation, and AI.
I think what makes this deep dive so interesting is that we get to see how these huge ideas, these big concepts, play out in a real person's life.
Right.
And they are a creator, someone who's working with knowledge and ideas all the time, which I think means a lot of their experiences, a lot of what they're figuring out will probably resonate with you too.
I think so too. And right off the bat, I mean, something that they shared just totally blew my mind.
Okay, what is it?
So get this. We're consuming more information in a single day, just one day,
Yeah,
than someone back in the 1500s did in their entire lifetime.
seriously.
Isn't that crazy?
You can see here that they did a pretty good job assessing all of the different sources to go down to the key elements that I was trying to get at, which was dealing with information overload, creation, and building a personal knowledge management system. So now what I can do is I can click to the side here and I can click download. But before I go and actually listen to this podcast, there's one more feature that I want to show you. So you can see here the podcast is 45 minutes long. That's quite long. So I might want to shorten that. And what's nice is if I go and delete this, now that I've created a copy, I can go and I can customize the input for this conversation so that the podcast is a little more tailored to the specific circumstances I'm looking for. If I click into customize, I can add my own notes here. You can see that it's asking what should the AI hosts focus on. So you can tell them to focus on a specific source, a specific topic, or target a specific audience. Okay, so let's try adding a custom prompt. I want the AI to focus on identifying my original ideas and insights. And the goal here is that I want to go through and listen to the audio overview and have new ideas on how to build out my YouTube channel that leverages my current momentum through content gaps. I've told the AI to assume that I'm sophisticated and that I want it to particularly draw on the sources that I've included, along with the conversation that I added from Taylor. I'm going to try putting in this prompt here where I can limit it to 20 minutes. And then all I have to do is click generate. And the way that Google describes this is a new feature that came out in October, is that you can think of it like slipping the AI hosts a quick note right before they go on air, which will change how they cover your material. So that's kind of nice because I can go through and I can create a couple different podcasts. I can generate podcasts that are geared towards specific problems that I'm having, or perhaps certain aspects of certain problem, generate a podcast, download it, and then change the way that the audio overview is curating its podcast for me. Okay, so that one generated a lot quicker, the customized version. You can see now that it's only 11 minutes and 49 seconds. So that's a lot more bearable than the 45 minutes, though I'm sure the 45-minute version had a ton of insight and information. Let's give this one a listen.
All right, so let's just dive right into this mountain of information that you've sent over: newsletters, YouTube videos, even Obsidian notes,
Wow.
and a strategy chat with Taylor.
Yeah,
It seems like you're really serious about leveling up your YouTube channel.
absolutely.
So consider this like a personalized deep dive,
Yeah.
extracting the good stuff from all these materials.
Yeah. You know what I find really intriguing is that you're already thinking beyond just creating content.
Right.
You're actively looking for those sweet spots where the audience demand surpasses the supply.
Yeah.
And that's where the magic happens on YouTube.
Cool. So that was a pretty good intro. You can see that the hosts are a lot more focused. There's a lot more direction specifically on trying to solve my particular problem. Let's give that one a download. Now that I've downloaded both podcasts, I wanted to actually go through and listen to them. One of the main perks of getting an audio overview is that I didn't have to sit at my desk to listen to it. I could take a screen break and go for a walk, get some exercise, and activate my default mode network, the background processing of the brain that happens when your mind wanders, typically when you're on the move. So, I decided to walk down to the water, one of my favorite places to take a mindful moment and watch the waves while I listened to the podcast.
It's true. Information overload is a real challenge for sure. And
Yeah.
that's where this PKM comes in.
Yeah.
Instead of just passively consuming, you're actively organizing and connecting ideas.
Right.
Think of it as like building a library in your mind,
Okay.
complete with a cataloging system,
Hmm.
so you can find exactly what you need when you need it.
Another major benefit was that I didn't have to look at my phone or my computer to review my thoughts, ideas, and knowledge. I could listen as I walked, which greatly reduced my distraction. For anyone with ADHD, this could be a huge benefit by reducing distraction while you consume your own information in different ways. It's hands free and eyes free learning. I could be reviewing my class notes while grocery shopping, reviewing my meeting notes while commuting, reviewing lectures or YouTube videos while at the gym, cooking, or coloring. The options here are literally endless for how you can start to consume information and reduce your information overload in a way that's a lot more sustainable.
Use NotebookLM to analyze your content and uncover those hidden gems. And most importantly, embrace those nonlinear leaps of creativity.
Remember, this is your unique story to tell.
And honestly, the podcasts were surprisingly good. There was a ton of great thematic connections between my notes, newsletters, voice notes, and YouTube videos. The ideas themselves weren't new, but the insights were factored in a way that greatly simplified the ideas. So as I listened to the podcasts, I created a lot of notes in Obsidian. I distilled my thoughts and identified all of the concepts that really jumped out at me, the ideas that truly resonated. Then I took those notes, I came back to NotebookLM and opened up the chat and pasted in the notes on the key concepts of what I wanted to talk about in this YouTube video. I asked the AI in the chat to identify themes and patterns to my notes and then structure the outline for the YouTube video. And honestly, it did a really good job. It brought in all of the different elements that I had identified as key aspects, which is feedback that I got from listening to the AI podcast. And what's cool is you can do this as many times as you want. I can create different customizations for the audio overview to direct the AI to think about particular concepts that I'm interested in. Then I can download the podcast, go for a walk, take a break from my desk, and listen to the audio overview while making new notes on the concepts that resonate with me. When I've identified the concepts that resonate with me, I can come back to NotebookLM, have a conversation with the AI to finesse the ideas a little bit more and create a more structured outline, add that as a new note into my notebook, and then generate a new podcast that goes into more depth based on the most recent information that I've included. As I do this, I can recalibrate the output and keep finessing it and curating the information into a way that's going to be the most useful for me and whatever the problem is that I'm trying to solve. I think it's cool that I was able to work with NotebookLM to specifically structure the outline of this video and distill all of my ideas, around 50 ideas, into 16, and then distill those 16 down to the top 3 ideas that I can work on. It removed a ton of decision fatigue, a ton of analysis paralysis. It helped me work through my information so I didn't feel overwhelmed. It would have taken me hours to go through all of these sources here, and it just took a few minutes for the AI to generate an audio overview that touched on most of the concepts I included. This is going to be a complete game changer for how I work with information. And what's cool about NotebookLM is that whenever I go through and add new notes, I'm effectively modifying the database that the AI is using to answer my questions. So I can constantly recalibrate the way that the AI is responding to me. It's like a safe little corner of the internet that I can work with my own thoughts. One quick thing I just want to mention is that NotebookLM talks about how they're not using your data for training their AI models. However, if you look at their privacy policy, it says that if you choose to provide feedback, then human reviewers may review your queries, uploads, and the model responses. So this is not using your data to train the AI, but it is possible that a human reviewer could see the information you're putting in there if you choose to provide feedback. So that's where you can see this little thumbs up or thumbs down. Anywhere you see a feedback option here, if you don't want NotebookLM or the human reviewers at Google to see what you're putting in there, just don't click on the feedback buttons. And Google mentions that keep in mind it's best to avoid submitting any information you wouldn't feel comfortable sharing. So it's up to you how you want to use this. But if you're a workspace or workspace for education user, no one will ever look at this. So it's up to you the level of confidentiality you want to deal with here. So, as a quick summary, what I did was I took some of my previous creations in my newsletters, my YouTube videos, my notes from Obsidian, and my conversations with Taylor that were about an hour and a half long. I dropped all of them into NotebookLM and then used the chat feature to identify themes and insights surrounding my ideas. After I did this, I was able to generate a generic podcast, the general audio overview, and then I was able to download that podcast and create another podcast where I specifically customized the prompt input so that I could tailor the output podcast a lot more to the specific solution I was trying to arrive at. In this case, making this video and trying to parse out all of my different ideas and create some clarity out of the chaos, and it actually ended up resulting in me coming up with 16 YouTube ideas. So I took all of that information, all of that knowledge, all of my ideas, and I was able to parse it out into the specific YouTube videos. That's going to make it a lot easier for me to make these videos in the future. Okay, now I want to take a moment and go through some of the key takeaways that I got from my experiment with the NotebookLM audio overview, the AI podcast. The first one is that it really does help bring clarity from the chaos. The fact that I was able to go through with a context window of up to 25 million tokens or 18 million words, that's just a massive amount of information that I'm able to drop into NotebookLM and then specifically use the AI through the large language model to find the particular insights that are going to be the most valuable for me. I was able to generate themes and link concepts together to connect the dots between my thoughts in a way that would be really difficult for me to do on my own in that same time period. So it would have taken me hours and hours and hours to walk through all of the newsletters that I had written, to walk through all of the YouTube videos that I had made, and re listen to all of the audio conversations that I had with Taylor. Instead, it just takes a few moments to drop the sources in and a few minutes of conversation with the NotebookLM chat interface to begin surfacing these insights, to begin generating ideas and connecting the themes of my ideas in a way that really saved me hours and hours and hours. But perhaps one of my favorite ways of using artificial intelligence, and in particular NotebookLM, is thinking of AI as a sounding board. Now, a sounding board is when someone stands up front and they know that they're going to be speaking out, so they have a reflective surface that literally bounces the person's words back at them. This is why it's a way that you can think of AI as a form of reflecting your own thoughts and ideas back at you. It's kind of hard to put into words, but by using the artificial intelligence as a sounding board, by listening to the audio overview, the AI podcast, I was able to hear my own thoughts and ideas from a different perspective. And with that different perspective, I could tell which ideas resonated more strongly than perhaps some other ones that could be lower priority in the future. I also found that by hearing someone else talk about my ideas in a positive way, it gave me a big confidence boost and helped me overcome some imposter syndrome. I think as a creator and also as a knowledge worker, most people in modern society, we tend to struggle with some element of imposter syndrome. So it's kind of cool that you're able to use artificial intelligence in a way that can boost your own mental well being while validating your ideas along the way. Another key takeaway is the reduction in decision fatigue. By dropping in all of these thoughts and ideas into the artificial intelligence system and have them bounce these ideas back at me, I'm able to drop in hundreds or thousands of ideas and then use the AI to connect the dots between those ideas and surface the insights that matter the most. If you're familiar with the Pareto principle, it's the principle that 20% of inputs lead to 80% of outputs. So, if you're able to use this as a prioritization system to overcome this decision fatigue, you can identify the ideas that are part of that 20% that's going to lead to the 80% output. By doing that, I can save a ton of time and energy by focusing on the ideas that are going to have the most impact when they're output. So rather than trying to think through all of these 100 ideas, I can take a look and say, okay, the AI suggested these five as the main ideas. Why don't I parse through them, drop the five down to two, and then select the best one? This is part of a common decision fatigue combating technique, which is called the 5-2-1 rule. And basically, what happens is you take in all of the ideas, you narrow it down to five, and then of those five, you narrow it down to two, and then of the two, you narrow it down to one. It's a way to systematically work through something that would typically overwhelm a lot of people. And AI is just the perfect companion to help you do this through the audio overview feature. And finally, you can think of AI as an accelerator of your ideas. I can drop in a haphazard collection of thoughts, ideas, and knowledge from YouTube, my newsletters, my second brain in Obsidian, and conversations that I've had with Taylor, use the AI to extract the ideas and the insight and to connect themes between them. And then I can take those half finished ideas and use the artificial intelligence to fill it out using the existing style that I've already put in there. This can take an idea that might be only 20% complete, boost it to 80%, where I can then go in and edit it and finesse it until it's actually ready to be published. Another benefit of doing this is by using the audio overview, you get a third-party perspective of what you're already working with. Rather than getting bogged down by my own thoughts and ideas and perhaps ones that I might be more emotionally attached to than others, I can use the AI as this third-party perspective to identify what ideas will actually have a greater impact. Then I can use the editing process to introduce the empathy and to introduce the emotion back into the works, back into my own ideas. That's kind of what I mean by taking it from 20 to 80%. You can just snap your fingers, click go, and it will fill out the whole idea that you have. If you're interested in learning more about my personal knowledge management system, in particular how I store my ideas, thoughts, and knowledge inside of Obsidian, I have a tutorial video here that walks through from the beginning how you can get going with Obsidian as your second brain. I then take this personal knowledge management system to the next level using automatic folders to create inboxes and indexes in Obsidian so that my notes are automatically sorted, which is perfect for plugging them into NotebookLM, since you've already introduced an element of structure that the AI really likes. If you're interested in diving deeper into NotebookLM and checking out the complete suite of tools that are available to you there, I have a tutorial video that's a complete NotebookLM overview, and actually Google themselves thought that it was a great walkthrough. So that kind of blew my mind a little bit, and I'm really glad that other people are finding it so helpful. So I recommend checking it out if you want to see what else NotebookLM has to offer. And there you have it. I hope that this has been a practical example for you where you can see the real world application of using the audio overview, the AI podcast of NotebookLM, to reduce information overload, reduce decision fatigue, improve on your own ideas, and surface new insights, while also giving you a confidence boost along the way. If you found this video helpful, I would love if you would please consider liking and subscribing, as your support really means a lot to me, and I am trying to grow my YouTube channel to make this my full-time career. If you know of someone else that might find this video helpful, please consider sharing this video with them, as word of mouth is by far the best way to grow my audience and to create a community of people that are interested in learning how to use AI to boost their lives, improving mental health, and their knowledge output. And now that I've reached the threshold of 1,000 subscribers and over 3,000 watch hours, I have finally been able to turn on monetization on YouTube. As part of this, I'm opening up YouTube memberships, which is a low-cost monthly fee where you can join my specific YouTube community. As part of this community, I'll be opening up questions and answer periods where you can give suggestions on videos that you would like me to make. So if you're interested in being part of this community or supporting me as I make YouTube my full-time career, please consider joining the membership. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.